Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is Mike. I'd like to do one final video for the end of the year just to say goodbye, wish everybody well, and also it's kind of a haul video as well. I picked up some DVDs and Blu-rays recently, and I'd like to show you a couple of books. So let's get into it. I'll try not to keep you very long. I took advantage of a sale from oldies.com from VCI Entertainment, which is a label I actually like. It may not be a boutique label on the level of, Kino or anything like that, but they put out a lot of really interesting stuff. And it's good quality DVDs, and they're also now putting out Blu-rays. So I took advantage of some of these low prices, picked up some films I'd never seen before. One of them is Carnival Story. Great cast of actors. We have Ann Baxter, Steve Cochran, Lyle Betker, and George Nader. And it's all about, high drama, romance, sex on the under the big top. And this is an American circus troupe has gone to Germany, so it's got that nice little cross-cultural thing going on. Ann Baxter is playing a German woman who gets involved with Steve Cochran, who is one of the people running the show, who is a pretty shady character and pretty cool. Carnival Story. I don't think I've ever seen this before. I also picked up a couple of westerns starring one of my favorite western heroes, Lloyd Bridges. Okay, one is called The Tall Texan, and this is called Little Bighorn. And both of these films co-star Marie Windsor, and very nice little westerns. Lloyd Bridges is a great actor, very energetic, kind of an action hero who plays two very different kinds of characters, very complicated characters in both of these films. And anyway, lots of fun. Never seen those before either. I also picked up from VCI Entertainment two television series. This is 12 episodes of My Little Margie. Anybody remember this one? This goes back a long way. This is a TV show that started its life as a summer replacement for the first season of I Love Lucy back in 1952. And then it became so popular that they made it into a series, and it lasted for 4 years. So very primitive stuff. Gail Storm and Charles Farrell play daughter and father, and just crazy adventures in an apartment house in New York. And she is been described as sort of a dime store Lucy Ricardo, but I always like these. This is a lot of fun. All right, My Little Margie. And finally, the entire series of Honey West from 1965. It was on one season, and I remember seeing these back in the day. They were a lot of fun. Anne Francis is the star. She plays, Honey West started its life as mystery novels, and I used to read them. I can't remember now what the name of the author was. Something. I read a whole bunch of those books back in the 60s, and about the time when the TV show was going to be coming on. And she's sort of a detective, spy, action hero, and Anne Francis is way cool. She's a beautiful woman, and her co-star is John Erickson. So it only made it for one season, unfortunately, but it's a lot of fun. And I got a couple of box sets. First off, check this out. There we go. Danza Macabre, Volume 2, from Severin Films. This is, Danza Macabre, Volume 1, a group of Italian Gothic horror films, none of which interested me at all, so I didn't get it. But this one I did get because the most important film in the set is Castle of Blood, starring Barbara Steele. And of course, the original Italian title for this film is Danza Macabre. And this has the 4K Ultra HD version of Danza Macabre and Castle of Blood, which is the American version, slightly shorter, and in English, of course. So the 4K does me no good whatsoever, since I don't have a 4K player, but it does have Blu-rays as well. And I have to say, These are the best versions of these films, the Italian and the American version I've ever seen. They did some wonderful work on this. Uh, there are a lot of very bad, rough, almost unwatchable prints floating around of Castle of Blood and Danza Macabre for a long time, and these people really did some good work. So this will become, I think, the definitive version for Castle of Blood. Very happy to have it. Some nice extra features, audio commentary, and there's also a partial scene-by-scene commentary by Barbara Steele, which is really nice. Okay, and the others in the set, we have two Italian films that really aren't gothic horror films at all, but they're kind of interesting. This is called They Have Changed Their Face, which I'd never heard of before. I'm not really familiar with anybody who's in this, but I watched this. Very interesting film. It's kind of a bizarre take on the whole concept of vampirism, okay? And this is one I will watch again. I don't want to give too much away because this is actually worth seeing. And the other one that I watched, which I didn't like quite as much, it's called The Devil's Lover. And this is in color. And I don't know, it's just kind of a waste of time, really. And finally, they also have this mini-series, which I don't know anything about. It's called Jekyll. And this is the only one I haven't watched yet. And this is a take on the Dr. Jekyll story, of course. So I will check that out as well. But the big thing here is Castle of Blood. I'm really excited that finally we have an excellent release of that film. And the one that came out a few years ago from Synapse Films, which I also take my hat off to those folks because they were working on that movie and showcasing it a long time ago. But this really passes it up. So anyway, and also I got another Blu-ray compilation of the Randolph Scott collection, 12 films, westerns starring Randolph Scott, which I picked up for $12.99. Wow, which is pretty nice. These are all Blu-rays, of course, and a slipcase. Okay. So anyway, well, I can take this slip. And this includes the 5 Renown films, which are, of course, now released on 4K on the Criterion Collection. But I watched one the other night, Ride Lonesome, and this is absolutely beautiful. So I may not be 4K, but I'm quite happy. So the other ones we have here, let's see if I can. All right. Well, the 5 Renown films are Comanche Station, Ride Lonesome, Buchanan Rides Alone, Decision at Sundown, and The Tall T. We also have A Lawless Street, which co-stars Angela Lansbury. It's kind of nice. The Desperados, which I've seen before. The Nevadan, Santa Fe, Man in the Saddle, Hangman's Knot, and The Strange of Oregon. So anyway, it's going to be a Randolph Scott Film Festival at my house. And one more box set, and this is so cool I can't even stand it. This is the complete series of Ozzie and Harriet. Look at that nice box. Is that something? Now, for any of you who don't go back nearly as far as I do in life, Ozzie and Harriet was a TV show that began its life actually as a radio program. Ozzie Nelson was a band leader. His wife, Harriet Hilliard, was sometime actress and a singer who became his band singer, and they got married, had 2 children, 2 sons, David and Ricky. Ricky Nelson, of course, later on became a very famous, legendary rock and roll star. But anyway, they had this radio show which started in the 1940s and was just about their family life. Then it became a TV show in 1952, and it ran for 14 years, right? 14 years. So we have the entire series now on DVD, and I am just really thrilled about this because I remember a lot of these when I was growing up. And I think it was in season 6 or something like that, the year 1957, when Ricky Nelson started singing on the show, and his father was promoting him to be a singer. He became famous. He became famous really not just because of his exposure on the show, but he was actually a very talented singer, musician and songwriter, and just his career took off like crazy. Anyway, these are so much fun. Just adventures of people. They call it the Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, but their adventures really were just a family life, living in their house, and sort of normal situations that anybody else would go through. And it's just interesting because they were playing themselves, Ozzie Nelson as Ozzie, and just watched. We all sat there for 14 years to watch these kids grow up. So it was another time. What can I tell you? But I am very excited to have this Ozzie and Harriet. I'll be traveling back in time for my childhood, what's left of it. And finally, 2 books that I picked up. One that I'm right in the middle of now. This is a Star Trek book called Phasers on Stun. Phasers on Stun. How the making and remaking of Star Trek changed the world by a guy named Ryan Brett. And it's kind of cool. He has sort of a modernist, woke take on Star Trek and what it meant, and all the little details we've all known for years, and a lot of stuff about Gene Roddenberry and the cast members. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So finally, the other book that I picked up, which I will read next, this is a film book, Come On Get Happy, The Making of Summer Stock, which was a 1950 MGM musical which starred Judy Garland and Gene Kelly. And it's very famous as the last film that Judy Garland made at MGM before she her contract was canceled. And I've always loved this movie. It's great to see Gene Kelly and Judy Garland working together one more time. They worked together in The Pirate. They worked together in his very first film, For Me and My Gal, back in 1942. And it's just wonderful. It also has Eddie Bracken, Gloria DeHaven, Phil Silvers, Marjorie Main, and Carlton Carpenter, directed by Charles Walters. So I'm really interested in getting into this. A lot has been said and written in other places about how complicated and difficult this particular shoot turned out to be, largely because Judy Garland had a lot of health problems at the time, and she couldn't work every day. But I want to find out all the details, so I'm looking forward to this. Anyway, that's my haul, that's my video, and it's the end of the year, folks. So I wish everybody a happy new year and the very best in the coming year, and I will see you on January 1st or sometime thereafter. I don't know. Good night.